Coming up, the Yankees blow a late lead. This is Locked On Game to Game MLB.
Every game, every team, every angle. Locked On Game to Game, your team every day.
Welcome in. You're listening to Locked On Game to Game MLB. Local experts join us to go over the biggest stories in baseball. I'm your host, Kainani Stevens. Thank you for making Locked On your first listen every single weekday. Now, Domingo Germán went into the ninth inning of his start for the Yankees, but then the New York bullpen fumbled everything away and lost to Cleveland. The Locked On hosts with both teams recap that late game turnaround.
This is Stacey Gotsulias of Locked On Yankees, and the Yankees dropped the first game to Cleveland 3-2. They were leading 2-0 heading into the top of the ninth. Domingo Germán pitching the game of his life. He had never pitched into the ninth inning in his professional career. His longest outing was 7 2/3 in the minors. He had only given up one hit heading into the ninth. He gave up his second hit in the ninth inning after getting an out, and Aaron Boone decided, let's bring in Clay Holmes. And what happened when he brought in Clay Holmes? Well, Clay Holmes blew the save and lost the game. The Yankees now find themselves in the AL East cellar at 15-15 because the Red Sox beat the Blue Jays. And out of every single AL East team in their last 10, the Yankees are the worst at 3-7 in their last 10. Can Garrett Cole stop this slide on Tuesday? Let's hope so.
How can you not be pumped? I want to talk about a roller coaster of emotions. This game, where you spend 8 innings in an hour and 40 minutes just being generally ticked off. The offense just showed up late, right? They came late to the party. It's fine because they end up with the win. Taking out Germán is going to be hotly debated amongst Yankees fans, but all I know is right now the Cleveland Guardians beat the New York Yankees. They took game one in a game they had no business winning because the ninth inning, they had 9 hitters come to the plate and big hit after big hit after big hit. What a fantastic job. Clase comes in, gets the save, and Yel De Los Santos with the win. A fantastic win. A win that they should not have gotten. Quite the stolen victory today for the Cleveland Guardians. Go, go, Guardians.
The Blue Jays took a heartbreaking loss as they watched the Red Sox walk it off in Boston last night. Locked On Blue Jays has more after that defeat.
Hello, friends. Craig Ballard, Locked On Blue Jays. Blue Jays drop the series opener at Fenway Park 6-5. They get walked off. Let's start with Have-A-Day Bo Bichette. Bo on the homestand that just concluded was just 7 for 28. That's only a .250 batting average, right? Bo, a little bit more of a hit machine than that. Well, we saw that on display today. 5 for 5, just a fantastic game for Bichette. Let's hope that he keeps that rolling. John Schneider. Again, John Schneider and his bullpen decisions. How on earth do you have your closer in a non-safe situation? We've seen this so many times for years and years and years. Closers do not do well in non-safe situations, and the Blue Jays were the visiting team. So if the Blue Jays were to take the lead in extra innings, who was going to come in to close this game?
We've got more from the day in baseball coming up. This is Locked On Game to Game MLB. Today's edition of Locked On Game to Game is brought to you by Sorare, a revolutionary fantasy baseball game and marketplace transforming fans into owners with officially licensed digital cards featuring players from across all 30 MLB teams. Unlike other fantasy baseball platforms, Sorare managers truly own their own fantasy experience because you collect, buy, sell, and compete with player cards against global opponents to win epic rewards. Win or lose, you still own your cards, and there is no cost to play. So, plus, the more you win, the more you advance at collecting increasingly powerful cards and accessing next-level competition and rewards. Head to sorare.com/lockedon. That's spelled so rare, SORARE.com, to draft your team of free player cards, set your lineup, and start competing today to win epic rewards. Again, that's sorare.com/lockedon to start playing today. Welcome back. You're listening to Locked On Game to Game MLB. Local experts join us to go over the biggest stories in baseball. I'm your host, Kainani Stevens. Thank you again for making Locked On your first listen every single weekday. A 5-run 7th inning from the Astros allowed Houston to put away the Giants in their season opener on Monday. Our Locked On hosts have more after the Houston rally.
Wait, Jose Urquidy is hitting the IL? Man, that sucks. Brandon Belak is coming up? I thought we already tried this. It didn't work. I'm so glad that Luis Garcia is starting tonight. So let's just sit down and watch this Astros game. Wait, why is Martin Maldonado going out to the mound? Garcia's only thrown 8 pitches. Why is Dusty Baker going out there? Oh no, Luis Garcia is coming out of this game. And that's how this game started tonight, Astros fans. My name is Eric Heisman with the Locked On Astros podcast. And this was an interesting game. The offense was not there early, but the Astros managed to score 5 runs in the 7th inning to lead to a 7-3 victory. And Brandon Belak managed to keep the Giants at bay for 4 innings, and then the rest of the bullpen did the job. And Mauricio Dubon had his revenge day, and we talked about this on this edition of the Locked On Astros podcast.
The Padres had to literally come back down to earth after playing at 7,000 feet above altitude in Mexico City over the weekend, but the Padres stayed hot on the field with a 3rd straight win on Monday. After beating the Reds in San Diego, our Locked On hosts have more after the matchup.
Cincinnati Reds pitching just didn't quite have it on Monday night. What's up? This is Jeff Carr from the Locked On Reds podcast, and as much as the lineup tried, the pitching failed. Luke Weaver, not a great start. Alex Young, one swing of the bat, honestly, and really if a replay review had been right, had actually gone the way it should have, then he would have been out of that jam, and we never would have been talking about Alex Young struggling. But here we are. Reds lose big in the first game to the Padres. Overall, tough night for the pitching. A lot of interesting performances. Nick Senzel continues to look good, but I struggle to see Luke Weaver as a starter moving forward. I think he's just kind of here. He's a body, and we just got to deal with it. Javi Reyes joining us for a Padres-Reds crossover on tomorrow's podcast.
That's it for this edition of Locked On Game to Game MLB. Thank you for making Locked On your first listen every single weekday. Make sure you subscribe to Locked On MLB and your favorite team's Locked On podcast on YouTube and wherever else you get your podcasts from. I'm Kainani Stevens. This has been Locked On Game to Game.